Just a little more patience. We'll stop that old hag's support and reveal our true colors. I overheard Sean's voice from the seat behind us on the plane to Hawaii with my mother. Monica was sitting next to him, and their disturbing conversation made me frown. As my mother and I quietly listened, their horrifying words made us pale. We decided to teach them a lesson. They'll regret what they've done. When I exchanged glances with my mother, she agreed with my plan. We vowed to make them pay, with my father's support. My name is Marie. I run a nursing home for the elderly and am 38 years old. Marie, how about this for the next recreation activity? It involves using milk cartons. My mother is a clerk at our facility. She has a disability in her legs and uses a wheelchair. She's been in a wheelchair for nearly 50 years since she saved me from being hit by a truck that ran a red light when I was 10. My mother sustained a spinal cord injury in that accident. Since then, she's lived in a wheelchair. My father worked tirelessly for my mother and now runs a car manufacturing company. His company has grown into a global enterprise with annual sales in the billions. He spends more than half of the year overseas, so the three of us rarely see each other, only about once every few years. Instead, he sends boxes of souvenirs every month, always with a letter inside. Reading those letters with my mother has always been a joy for me. That sounds great. Let's discuss it with the staff. I think our residents will enjoy it. Having lived mostly with my mother, I chose a career in caregiving when I became an adult. I wanted to be there to take care of her no matter what happened. However, as I started my career, my mother spent more time alone at home. She couldn't go wherever she wanted in her wheelchair. Moreover, her friends are still in their prime working years, so she doesn't have much social interaction. I wondered if she was feeling lonely. Concerned, I talked to my father about it. When I mentioned that I wanted to find something we could do together, he suggested running a nursing home. Your mom used to work in an office. Why don't you run the facility and have her work there? I'll provide the funding. I'll also reach out to some contacts to gather experienced staff, so why not run it as a family business? I eagerly agreed to my father's wonderful suggestion. I was thrilled to be able to do something together with my parents. Office work wouldn't put too much strain on my mother, and her cheerful disposition would be a comfort to those around her. Despite her disability, my mother never showed a sad face. She was always bright and warm like the sun. Being by her side, I never felt depressed either. I thought she could be a beacon of hope for others. So, I accepted my father's idea. If our facility could be a light for someone, nothing would make me happier. From then on, my father taught me the ins and outs of running a business. Using that knowledge, I began operating the facility with my mother. I felt our family bond grow stronger through our work together. But tragedy struck us suddenly. Marie, pancakes for breakfast? This is Sean Wingate. He works as the care manager at our facility and is my husband. He joined as a care manager in our 5th year of running the facility. He worked hard, was well liked by the residents, and had a bright personality that made him very popular at the facility. Everyone, regardless of age or gender, thought highly of him. Sean and I got married. Now, we live with his stepdaughter Monica, who also works at our facility. Monica has the same office job as my mother and works under her. Pancakes are fine. Thanks as always. You help with the housework even though you have work too. What are you talking about? You're busier than I am, so it's only natural for us to support each other. Exactly. Thanks to Marie, Dad has started helping with the housework. He didn't even know how to use the washing machine before. Monica gets a playful scolding from Sean for her comment. I couldn't help but smile at their banter. After marrying Sean, I moved out of my mother's house, and she now lives in the residential part of the facility. My father had considered my mother's commute when he built the facility, including a residential area. So even though I moved out, my mother wasn't entirely alone. People were always nearby in case anything happened, creating a secure environment. At least, that's what I thought. I didn't realize the treatment my mother was enduring from Sean and Monica. Hey, Marie. How about we go on a trip together sometime? What brought this on? During a work break, I happened to have lunch with my mother. It had been a while since we had a leisurely chat. But something seemed off. Always being with her, I hadn't noticed, but my mother looked thinner. While it could be because it's summer, our facility is air-conditioned 24/7, and my mother's home is fully equipped with heating and cooling. Her weight loss didn't seem healthy. She also looked pale and lacked energy. I listened to her as I thought about these things. I'm thinking of going to see your father. To see Dad? Oh. That's right, your anniversary is next month. I reflexively asked back because it was so sudden. But then I remembered their anniversary next month and thought that must be it. I quickly connected the dots, but my mother had a complicated expression on her face. Yes, he said he'd send plane tickets so we could meet. So, I need some time off. She forced a smile to hide her troubled expression. For the first time, I felt something was off with my mother. She seemed frightened. I was about to ask her about it when she shook her head. Was it not safe to talk here? There were other staff members in the break room, and my mother seemed worried about them. It's just that, with my condition, I need you to come with me. She spoke quickly, cutting me off before I could say anything. Surprised by her urgency, I hesitated. Seeing my hesitation, she looked at me with a worried expression and added, "Is that okay?" I immediately smiled and shook my head. Of course, it's okay. You'd feel uneasy going alone, right? I'll be your escort until Dad arrives. You need some alone time for your anniversary date. A date, you say? That sounds a bit embarrassing. She laughed softly, with a hint of shyness. Maybe I was overthinking it. Seeing her laugh, I decided to drop the subject. Sometime later, my father sent us 2 plane tickets. I had already informed Sean and Monica that we'd be visiting my father, but since then, I had been traveling for meetings and inspections of new facilities. I hadn't spent much time with my family lately. Maybe I should invite them to dinner when I get back. I thought casually as I headed to the airport. The tickets my father sent were for Hawaii. Even though I had told Sean and Monica I was going to Hawaii, I didn't tell them the exact details until after I returned. On the flight to Hawaii, I sat by the window, excited. My mother looked happy to be going to Hawaii after so long. I am glad. She seemed well. Seeing her enjoying herself, I felt relieved and spoke to her. It's been a while since you've seen Dad and gone to Hawaii. You must be excited for this break. Maybe so. It's nice to get away from it all. What? I was about to ask her what she meant by that when I heard familiar voices from the seat behind us. How long do I have to keep pretending? I'm tired of playing nice. Just a little longer. Once we stop that old hag's support, we can show our true colors. If we do it now, she'll divorce me. Marrying her would have been pointless. I couldn't believe I was hearing Monica and Sean's voices. Why were they on this flight? I listened closely. This whole thing is so tedious, but it's for the money. Exactly, Monica. Let's forget the stress and enjoy our Hawaii trip. Don't act like you're paying for this trip. You just won it in the neighborhood raffle. Hearing their conversation, I was shocked at the coincidence. If they're going to Hawaii too, I can spend time with them while my parents are on their date. It would be a win-win situation, killing time while letting my parents enjoy their time together. Thinking optimistically, I turned around to call out to them. But then, I heard terrifying words from their mouths. Seriously, who spends money on their parents instead of their kids or spouse? Parents won't be around much longer, so the money should go to the kids with a future. Spending money on someone with little time left is just stupid. I can't stand seeing that old hag's face, it makes me so angry. Well, don't be like that. I already told her. I said if she doesn't stop supporting Marie, both Monica and I will quit the facility, and I'll divorce her. She'll have no choice but to comply. Their tone was something I had never heard before, and I was left speechless. Could this really be Monica and Sean talking? As I was in shock at the unbelievable conversation, they continued. I even threatened her, saying it's all her fault, so she'll probably stop supporting Marie soon. She wouldn't want to see Marie suffer because of her. She'll accept my threats. Dad, you're so bad. You're just making her give us all her money. And then, you'll just dump her like the last one, right? Exactly. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Sean had said his ex-wife left him, but if this conversation was true, it was Sean who dumped her, and Monica found it amusing. Anger welled up inside me at their cruel words and the lies I had been told. I was about to turn around and confront them when my mother grabbed my arm, her face pale as she shook her head. Please, Marie. Stay calm. Don't make a sound. Seeing her desperate plea, I froze. She looked more distressed since recognizing Sean and Monica than from motion sickness. Knowing she doesn't suffer from motion sickness, I realized she had been fine until she heard their conversation. Her earlier cryptic words also came back to me. Getting away from that place. Could it be related to them? As these thoughts crossed my mind, my mother released my arm and took out her phone. She seemed to be messaging someone. Then, she gestured for me to check my phone. Following her instructions, I opened my phone and saw a new message notification from my mother. Let's communicate via this app, it said. I complied and continued the conversation through the messaging app. What's going on? Sean and Monica's conversation was about you and me, right? I sent the message, watching my mother's face. She read it and trembled with fear, then looked at me and nodded repeatedly. I've never told you, but since they came to the facility, I've been harassed. I couldn't believe it. The messages continued, revealing more shocking details. At first, they criticized my work, saying that just because I have a disability, it wasn't right to only do computer work and not other tasks. A newcomer criticizing a senior colleague was unheard of, yet the messages contained even more shocking revelations. They demanded that I lower my salary, saying I was taking it easy because of my disability. They said, since I'm your granddaughter, I should either lower my salary or give more money to your granddaughter. They demanded money from me. I couldn't process it all. We may be family, but work is work. I couldn't stand the fact that they were mixing personal and professional matters and treating my mother so poorly. But I couldn't bring myself to help them after they spoke to me like that. So, I refused. Then, they both came and threatened me together. They said if I didn't stop accepting support from Marie, they would leave the facility and divorce her. Their despicable actions and words made me grip my phone tightly. The final straw was their cruel remarks about my mother's condition. Reading those words, I felt an urge to confront them right away. Sensing my emotions, my mother sent another message. This trip was really to tell you about this. I've already spoken with your father. I realized then that if I acted impulsively, it would undermine my mother's efforts. As long as you're happy, I can endure anything. But those two are nothing but bad luck and will only bring you misery. Your father agrees that we don't need to hold back anymore. Scrolling further, I saw a message from my father detailing our plan and meeting points. Seeing the plan, a smile crept onto my face. This will definitely make them pay. You might have to do some unpleasant things, but will you help? Of course. They won't get away with treating you like that. Enjoy your flight while you can. I mentally whispered this to the laughing pair behind me. Your nightmare begins once you land. Before long, the plane landed. Keeping our heads down to avoid being seen, we waited until Sean and Monica left before exiting the plane ourselves. Outside the airport, the car my father had arranged was waiting, and we quickly got in. Is Marie filled in? I sent her everything during the flight. Sorry, Dad. I should have been there for Mom. My normally gentle father looked stern for the first time in a long while. It's not your fault. They were sneaky. It was impossible for you to know. He gently patted my head before instructing the driver to follow the car ahead. I know where they're headed. We'll start once we arrive. Marie, please sign this. Got it. I signed the papers my father handed me. Soon, the car stopped at a hotel. We saw Sean and Monica enter to check in. Following them, I quietly approached and tapped Sean on the shoulder.
Marie? What? Why are you here?
They were in the middle of checking in, and I silently tapped Sean's shoulder. Both Sean and Monica turned, looking confused and startled. We're here for a trip too. Right, Mom? Yes. I smiled brightly to put them at ease.
Oh, you scared us. Yeah, we're on a trip too. Didn't expect to see you here. Really? What a coincidence. We won a neighborhood raffle for a Hawaii trip.
There's no way we're staying at the same hotel. We're at a much nicer place. And that fake smile of yours? It's disgusting. Don't direct it at us. I replied coldly to their cheerful chatter, shocking them into silence. Then my mother spoke up. Hey, you two, we need to talk. Mom says, giving a signal to the receptionist. Noticing her look, the staff quickly guides us to the reception room. Wait, what is this? Why does everyone look so serious? Monica notices something strange and looks at us anxiously. Sean is also confused, with a cold sweat on his forehead, watching us just like Monica. I give them a chilling smile and point out our conversation on the plane. You had quite an interesting chat on the plane, didn't you? Something about stopping the aid, right? I drag out the words in a mocking tone, and their faces turn pale. Well, of course. Who could have predicted that someone would overhear their conversation? No way. Were you on that plane too, Mom? Can you stop calling me Mom? It's gross and makes me uncomfortable when you act like my daughter now. Though I'm smiling, there's no kindness in my voice. In fact, Monica shivers from the anger conveyed in my tone and words. We were sitting right in front of you. Didn't notice, did you? Of course not. You were making such a ruckus with your stupid chatter. No wonder you couldn't notice the people around you. We thought it was hilarious listening to such vulgar nonsense. I say, sneering to provoke their emotions. This seems to irritate Sean. He glares at me with a sullen expression. What's with your attitude? Are you mocking us? Does it not look like mocking to you? Maybe you should see an eye doctor. I continue to mock them while Mom and Dad watch silently. Normally, they would have stopped such harsh provocations. But this was all part of the plan. I was assigned by Dad to provoke Sean and Monica. And it worked perfectly, their faces contorted with anger, and they started yelling. You better cut out that attitude. What are you trying to do?
Yeah. Bringing us here, what the hell is this? Let us go. If we're talking about nonsense, you two are the ones who should cut it out. Mocking my mother and then extorting money from her. Did you really think you wouldn't get caught? We know everything.
I yell back at them with a voice just as loud as theirs. Their shoulders jerk in fear.
Seems like you did quite a number on Mom. Something about stopping the aid, wasn't it? You said you have kids and need the money more than some old woman, right? Don't you dare think we'd give money to money-grubbing jerks like you.
Realizing that all their schemes were exposed, Monica becomes defiant. Sean, looking frustrated, glares at Mom, who had exposed them.
Don't think this will end with just a divorce. You two are going to regret this deeply.
The moment they hear the word divorce, Sean and Monica burst out laughing. Divorce? Who do you think is going to sign the papers? You think that old hag can just decide that? This is a joke, right? There's no proof of anything. Exactly. If you want a divorce, you'll need to show proof that we harassed or threatened her. They show their true colors, mocking me back. When they came agitating back at me as if they were trying to hit my sore spot, they looked into my face with a silly smile on their faces. If you want a divorce from Dad, you'll need our agreement. And we have no reason to agree. True, but the fact that you harassed Mom won't disappear. We can find evidence from workplace security cameras. No way. We did it where no one could see. We aren't that stupid. Got it. So you're not going to stop harassing Mom? Monica proudly brags about their tactics. She wears a smug smile, thinking they have the upper hand, while Sean looks at me defiantly. When I ask about the harassment toward Mom, Monica makes a proposal. If you want us to stop, cut the aid to that old hag and send us $1,000 every month. Yeah. If you lower her salary, it should be easy. And if we don't comply? We'll keep harassing the old hag. As long as we get the money, we don't care. If you don't obey us, she'll suffer. They smirk, looking confident. I sigh deeply. Everything had gone exactly as planned. Amazed at how easily they fell into the trap, I point behind them. Thanks to your recent comments, we now have proof of the harassment. What? Huh? Looking confused, they turn their gaze in the direction I'm pointing. There, they notice something glinting. As they squint to see what it is, the color drains from their faces when they realize the truth. The surveillance cameras in this room are special. They're not in the ceiling but hidden inside that ornament, with audio recording. What? This hotel had previously been targeted by a robber who destroyed all the surveillance cameras. Fortunately, the robbery attempt failed, but since then, hidden cameras have been placed everywhere, including this room. A camera is hidden in the eyes of the wooden tiger, and the mouth picks up sound. You thought the surveillance cameras didn't record audio, didn't you? Well, too bad. Now we have solid evidence that you were harassing Mom.
You dirty scumbag. This is sneaky and underhanded. Yeah. This is like spying. We'll sue.
Angry in knowing they're at a disadvantage, Sean and Monica lash out at me. Matching their intensity, I fire back, making them tremble in fear.
Go ahead and try. We'll crush you. We're always ready to fight you. Damn it.
Sean's face turns pale, glaring at me with frustration. Next to him, Monica bites her thumb, desperately trying to think of a way out. Realizing that their threat about a lawyer won't work, she offers a new proposal, agreeing to the divorce but demanding a fair division of assets.
If we agree to the divorce, then we want our share of the assets. We know that assets are split equally during a divorce.
She must have given up trying to win me over. Instead, she's demanding a fair division of the assets. But I have no intention of giving them a single cent. That's when Dad steps in. Sorry, but that's not going to happen. What? Stay out of this, old man. This is a family matter. Not a chance. My wife has been tormented, and my daughter is being dragged down. No father would stay silent. The two of them made an unbelievable statement to my father. Hearing this, Mom and I were speechless. We were stunned that they had managed to anger the one person they shouldn't have. You two won a ticket to this hotel in the festival lottery. Isn't that right? So what? The truth is, the organizer of that festival is an acquaintance of mine. I had them rig the drawer a bit to lure you here. What? Wait, what? I don't understand. Suddenly, my father's revelation left them bewildered. It's no wonder. Understanding what my father was doing would be difficult for an average person. Father then began explaining it clearly to the confused pair. We knew in advance that you'd participate in that lottery. I showed your photos to my friend and had them rig it so you'd win a trip to Hawaii.
Wait a minute. It was pure coincidence that we entered that lottery.
Yeah, there's no guarantee we would have participated. Do you think we'd fall for such a lie? You were bound to participate. The guests at that festival were your favorite celebrities. Upon hearing that, they seemed to grasp the situation. They turned to me with an expression of disbelief. I responded with a peace sign and a smirk. From Marie, we learned about your favorite celebrities. We had your favorite idols and gravure models participate in the festival. And we made sure the prizes you wanted were there, so you'd feel compelled to join. Plus, you, being the husband, are known to be weak for anything free. It would have been harder for you to find a reason not to join. Sean, realizing he had been entirely outwitted by my father's elaborate scheme, sank in despair. But Monica was different. She tried to escape towards the reception room door. However, my father had anticipated this, and his strong bodyguards were waiting outside. Give up. There's no way we're letting you escape. We're certainly not sending you back home. What do you mean by that? As Monica struggled, I approached her with a smug smile, lifted her chin gently, and made her face me. You'll pay for hurting Mom's heart. With your bodies.
What are you planning to do?
You two will spend the rest of your lives doing menial work at this hotel. What? Monica cried out in surprise at the sudden declaration. Sean also looked up in shock, realizing from my expression that it was no joke. My father bought this hotel last month. It's known for its affordability and delicious food, but we recently had a fresh start and need more staff. So we were hiring. Are you insane? Who in their right mind would work here? There's no way we could stay here forever. Are you stupid? Maybe it was youthful bravado. But she would regret her tone in an instant. It doesn't matter what you want. Father, angered by Monica's disrespect, stood up and moved toward her, exuding an overwhelming sense of intimidation that made her cower. I'm quite influential here. I have many connections. What are you getting at? The manager of this hotel is a friend of mine. He's from Skid Row. Monica's face paled instantly upon hearing the name Skid Row. My friend will be returning home for a week starting tomorrow, and he'll be taking you two with him. You won't be coming back.
I'm sorry. I'll never act like that again. I'll do anything you say. Please, don't send us there. I'll do whatever you want. I apologize for everything. Just please, send us back home.
Seeing Monica cry, Sean joined in, pleading and apologizing to us. But I wasn't about to grant them mercy. I was determined to see them suffer. Apologizing won't help you. You'll work here until you think hell would be better. Don't even think about running away.
No! Please, Marie, forgive us!
Ignoring their pleas, I instructed the bodyguards to take them away. The strong men lifted them up and carried them off, never to return home. Thanks to my father, our revenge on Sean and Monica was complete. My father had Sean sign the divorce papers he wrote on the plane. Let me send it by mail. We'll make sure he signs it and then sends it back. I was impressed by my father's thoroughness. He also demanded compensation for the cruel acts they inflicted on Mom. Knowing the consequences of defying my father, they complied. Sean and Monica were forced to do menial work at my father's hotel. Their wages were sent to Mom as compensation, and they lived in a shared house with other employees. The other employees, aware of their vile acts, treated them like slaves, making them work from dawn till dusk. Afterward, my parents enjoyed a long overdue date. I enjoyed Hawaii, and we had a family dinner together.
I'm so lucky to have a great family, Mom said with relief.
I smile as my mother is relieved to be released from hell.
That's my line.
What? Thank you for protecting me. Dad and I will always protect you. So, don't hold back. You and Dad are the most important to me. Holding Mom's hand, she cried tears of joy, and Dad gently stroked her hair. Watching my parents, I felt truly fortunate to be their child. I thought of this as I watched my mother supported by my father.